Hollywood Works here, coming to you once again with One Piece chapter 1145, entitled The Blaze in Branch 8 Forest number 2. That's a mouthful. So, we have a color spread of the Straw Hats watching a bunch of TVs like this is Persona 4, and this is to commemorate the anime's return on the 5th. So that's pretty cool. And it's 11:15. I don't know if that's the time it airs in Japan, 11:15 p.m., but that's interesting. But yeah, it's a bunch of televisions with Gear 5th Luffy on them. And it's very interesting that this is one of the few times in which Jinbei is just wearing a regular shirt. Huh. It's still presented as if he's taken off his Jinbei, the robe, because that's the joke. And of course, it's patterned. I don't know. That's just interesting to me. I do like Frankie and Brooke sitting next to each other celebrating. That's pretty cool. And of course, Sanji has served up food to the rest of the crew. I like that a lot. I don't know what's actually broadcasting the signal to all the TVs. It could be this Din Din Mushi in the back. I'm not sure what kind it is, though. It's kind of hard to make out. Could be some sort of visual Din Din Mushi, not sure. But anyway, this is one of those rare occasions in which we got a color spread and a continuation to the cover story. And we're at volume 30, in which Ulti is hugging page 1. And we have Oni Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 30. Pei Pei is still alive. So yes, page 1 did survive the onslaught from the Who's Who gang. And we see Yamato walking away with Yasue's sword. There will be a video coming soon because there is a break next week. Bummer, I know. But there will be a video coming soon explaining what I think is going to happen to Ulti and page 1 moving forward. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. And moving into our chapter, we have yet another monster from Strong World. And it's actually named this time. So now you all know I'm not crazy. And yes, all these creatures have been references from Strong World. It's called the Groggysaurus. And his, I guess, anatomy is broken down by Goldberg, which makes a lot of sense because he's the cook of the new Giant Warrior Pirates crew. We also find out that, yeah, baby, I was right. So his shield is called Nash. Nash seems to be a family heirloom, which I swore I said, and I can't find it, but I did hypothesize that Nash indeed was a homie. And we get confirmation here that yes, he is indeed a homie because apparently he's a family heirloom passed down from Goldberg's father, who clashed with Big Mom back in the day. I don't think this is during the flashback because it's implying that this is when she was an adult at some point and had the soul fruit. So yes, he breaks down that the Groggysaurus is very fatty and it's very nutritious. And yeah, that's when they go into talking about Nash and they bring up Zeus and they explain that yeah, Nami has Zeus now. And apparently Goldberg is too familiar with Zeus. So that's super interesting. Another thing I would like to point out, we have a lot of living weapons here now. I'm just saying, Zeus was mentioned. The shield has finally been named and it's called Nash and has the powers of a homie because we see in the fight between Goldberg, Sanji, Zoro, and the Groggysaurus that Nash can expand. And he, even though he has a face, he does act as a shield because he breaks all the Groggysaurus's teeth. Another thing I would like to point out, I don't think we've seen this since Thriller Bark. But Sanji and Zoro team up and we get another power shoot attack, which is when Zoro decapitates the Groggysaurus. Beautiful. You love to see it. I swear the team attacks between these two are rare, but man, are they good. Oh, I love when they come up. It's great. It's simply cinema. I love it. I love it so much. But yeah, another monster from Strong World. And we now know that Nash, the living shield, can both increase in size and thickness, which is very interesting because he reminds me of Napoleon. I wonder if Nash is a reference to some sort of political figure as well. I'll have to look that up, but that's very interesting. And I'll link that short somewhere in this video. I need for you to see that I was right. Because I called this like a year ago, bro. But yeah, I was wrong though, because I thought it was a Mother Caramel homie, but no, it's a Big Mom homie. And apparently Big Mom, from how this is worded, can just make homies during a fight with her opponent, which makes a lot of sense because, as I have said many a times, what is a Logia going to do to Big Mom? You kind of see what I mean? Seeing as how she can create homies out of any construct that they throw at her. It's a crazy thought. Moving on, they cook up the Groggysaurus, and that's when Loki explains that he was attacked by the Holy Knights and how if he had got out to sea, he'd be king of the world. Which then, that's when it's interrupted by Goldberg bringing in the Groggysaurus, and we get a little quip where Zoro takes credit for taking down the Groggysaurus, and Sanji says, "You look like a head of broccoli sailing through the sky gloriously." That's great. That's great. Love the banter. Elbaf has been nothing but good content, I swear. So yes, the Groggysaurus is cooked. Luffy tries to put it into Loki's mouth while he's laying down, and he nearly burns him, and he retorts, "You moron, are you trying to kill me?" And Luffy says, "You're better already." And chow down, you won't heal if you don't eat. That's very true. Loki eats, followed by Luffy delivering him some soup after nearly choking from eating laying down. And he spills the hot soup all over Loki. This is peak comedy because the giant cup of soup was too hot for Luffy to hold. I love this. This is Tom and Jerry nonsense. I love it. And Gerd snickers. Now he's got even more burns. And Loki wants everyone to keep Luffy away from him. But Gerd is very proud that Luffy spilled hot soup all over Loki. This is amazing. I love this. Simply love this. That's when Sanji and Zoro have a conversation about Loki. Zoro's eating Groggysaurus meat with his sword. Amazing. Love this. Amazing. But yeah, Sanji says, "What did he do to piss off the giants this much?" And that's when Zoro retorts, "I bet his promise to Luffy was just a trick." But no, Loki actually knows the whereabouts of Red Hair Shanks. And that's when he retorts to Luffy that, "I know you look up to him, but looking up to pirates as a child is a mistake." That's when we get a very interesting flashback of Loki in his youth, in which he is trying to join the Rock's pirates, apparently, talking to the man himself, Rox D. Zebek, who is in silhouette. That's when Rox D. Zebek challenges him to a fight and beats him to death. Beats a child to death. I'll just like to point out that the parallels are very interesting because Loki literally is wearing a hat that looks like a steel straw hat. He wants to join the pirate crew of a big shot pirate when he is a child. I don't know. A lot of Luffy parallels here. Could Loki be some sort of rubber man? We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. And that's when Newgate, Whitebeard, is chewing out Loki for being a child. And Rox D. Zebek retorts, "Shut up, Newgate." That's so funny. That's crazy. Back in the present, Loki laments that he was born in the wrong era, which then cuts us to Broggy, Dory, and Scopper Gaban beating up all of the nightmare creations generated by Killingham. And yeah, we finally get a clear shot of the nightmare that's supposed to be Loki, and he is wielding a hammer. So yeah, that's Loki. That's Loki, all right. However, the nightmare creatures are dispatched with great haste by Scopper Gaban, seemingly in one shot, which is going to look crazy in the future. But yeah, they're all down by just one hit from Scopper Gaban, I guess. And that's when Scopper Gaban senses that, yeah, there are more voices on the island. And if Elbaf is no longer safe, the world is really ending. Perhaps he is referring to Ragnarok in a strange way. Very interesting. Cut to the firefighters of Elbaf using water from the sea clouds to try to put out the fire so the children don't burn themselves. And we cut to actually Saul managing to defeat the Fenrir nightmare creature by himself, which, yeah, I mean, he defeated Jormungandr a few chapters back, so that's to be expected. But the children are about to be burned, but then they are saved by Jinbei using a similar technique to the one he used back in Impel Down when the crew was having their breakout, and he calls it Sea Cloud Current Shoulder Throw. And that manages to put out the flames, which is really cool. But as they're about to walk into the fire, Gunko reveals that, yeah, she is kind of evil. Because Summers asks her, look, Gunko, the kids are about to burn alive. Would that be enough to wake them up? And Gunko says, yes, they'll wake up from the heat, screaming for their parents in terror. Then the flames will burn them down to the bone. Oh my. Someone is an edgy girl, isn't she? Goodness. But yeah, the children are saved by Jinbei, and everyone congratulates Jinbei. I will like to say it's cool that Jinbei can use his Fishman karate on Sea Cloud. I think that is cool. It's lame that it's basically the same thing we've seen from him already. I don't know what to make of that. I'm glad that works. But then again, why wouldn't it work? Because we find out like way back in Skypiea that sea clouds work like the ocean. So hypothetically, he should be able to do this. So it's a cool thing to see, but it's not very surprising. I'll just say that. Call me a hater if you want, but it is what it is. And that's when the blaze in Branch 8's Forest number 2 has been extinguished. We got a title drop there. Very cool. And the children are safe as they're still following Gunko's arrow construct. So everybody's still congratulating Jinbei and saying how he's so cool. But then Gunko appears, and this is a very confusing shot because I guess she's on the tip of the Skyver or Skeever, the cloud ship that the rest of the Straw Hats are on. So Colin, Brooke, Jinbei, Nami, and Usopp. And she says, so not all the children were in school. This one sure seems lively. And Colin's like, oh, who's that? But what's interesting, in the final shot, we have a ellipses question mark exclamation point. I think that's for Gunko because she spotted Brooke and the situation is going to diffuse itself immediately because I think she's going to start fangirling over Brooke. And I made a video about how her wearing panties could be a plot point, actually. So we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, she's flashing us here. Big old panty shot. Wow. And yeah, that's a low riding coat. I tell you what, goodness gracious. But yeah, good chapter. Glad the children are safe. Happy about the lore drops. Happy that my Strong World ramblings have been justified, as the Grokkysaurus is actually named here. So yes, all the parallels way back when that was making, except for Scopper being Shiki, were accurate. So I'm happy about that. I was not crazy. Very cool. And with that being said, yeah, more content from me coming out during the break. And with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What's it?